Hey guys, what's going on my journey for trying to find the ultimate indicators for TradingView? I've come across one that I think you guys will really love. It's called HEXGO Trading. And the reason I think you'll love it is because it has a free trial that's 60 days. It's 2 months free trial, and I signed up for it, and sure enough, it's 2 months of free trial, which is pretty much unheard of, and I honestly don't think it's a good business model because people don't last that long with these things, right? And if you have something for 60 days and it doesn't work within the first week or two, you're probably just going to ignore it and move on to something else. Even though it might work just fine, it's something that if you have it for such a low cost, or in this case free, it's not going to really help you because unless you immediately fall in love with it, it's something that will just get put on the back burner and eventually you'll just cancel it. It's something that I don't agree with in terms of just from the business point of view. From a consumer's point of view, it's really good though, in that fact that you get to test it for so long, which some people really would find useful. Depends on your personality. Anyway, we're going to talk about that as an overview. This is probably going to be a series of videos because it's quite an extensive program, and I'm just going to introduce you to it basically and kind of go through the first thing that I'm looking at, let you guys see it, and then maybe you can decide whether you want to look at the free trial or not. Before we get started, Lance and I from Theta Traders are actually doing a live webinar on something called Monday Super Spreads. This is a new service that we're launching. It's going to be the lowest cost service in thetatraders.com. And I think you're really going to enjoy what we have to say on this. These are super high probability trades and they're well-defined risk-reward trades. So I'm excited to be sharing this with you guys, with Lance. And it's on Thursday, this Thursday, 6/27, 7:30 Eastern Time or 6:30 Central Time. And all you have to do to make sure you don't miss this is come to the page that I'll link in the description below. Hit notify me if you see that. If not, just subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button, and it'll make sure you don't miss any of our live streams, including this one. So it's going to be good. If you haven't tried out or learned how to win 90% of your trades free course, then definitely check it out. Again, there'll be a link in the description below. This is basically an introduction to selling options and strategies that actually work when you're selling options. This course I've seen sell for $9.97, $12.97, that sort of price range. It's not exactly the same material as you find in other courses that are retailing for that, but it's very similar stuff. So to get it free is pretty cool. And I think it's a good introduction to learning how these high probability trades really work. So make sure you check that out. Link will be in the description as well. So check those things out. Definitely don't miss our webinar. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As I always talk about Algo Pro, I'll leave a link in the description for Algo Pro. It's one of my favorite premium indicators. It's only like $150 for lifetime with it, and I've honestly found it to be one of the most reliable, most customizable indicators for TradingView out there. So definitely check out my full review in the description below as well. And we can have a quick look at this and how it compares to HEXGO as we go through the HEXGO reviews. We'll even look at it today a little bit. So here's the landing page for HEXGO. I really didn't believe they'd do a 60-day free trial, but they do, which is really cool. Apparently you can do some automated trading with it, so I haven't started any of that yet, but I'll have a look and see how easy that will be to do. So all I'm looking at the moment is these indicators that they have on the system. So typical for TradingView is they have these like buy-sell signals, and they talk about AI, of course, AI power-driven software. Who knows what that really is, whether they're just using buzzwords. They have a Discord community, which I also joined. It's not super helpful so far, but I'll probably do a video on that as well. Indicators, refine your trading experience with their next generation AI algo cutting indicators. Strategies, intraday options and futures. And then the automation stuff, which might be of interest to you guys. I'll cover it in a different video though. Yeah, so that's about it. So let's take a look at what I first found. So if you go into TradingView and go to indicators, you'll see I'm a member of a lot of these different indicators. So here though is where HEXGO starts. So you can see all of these are HEXGO indicators. So immediately I'm like, okay, this is going to be a series of videos because I don't like doing more than 10 minutes or so in a video. But you can see all these different ones. So I thought I'd just start at the top and do a video on this one, explore the other ones, and then find the best ones I think, let you guys know what I think about them, and we can go from there. So I clicked on HEXGO bars version 3, and this is what shows up on your chart. This is just the SPY on the daily. Let's zoom out here. go like this. Reload trading view real quick. So reload. Yeah, and so you can see this is a SPY chart. Up here, just gotta zoom out. Try and over here. There we go. So let's get rid of this thing. So this bar thing is very, very simple. Basically, the idea is you buy on a green bar, you sell on a red bar. And I looked at the 1 minute chart and it works in real time. So these are not lagging, they actually appear pretty promptly, but I always start in a longer time frame, so in this case on the daily chart. And you can see like here, we zoom in a little bit. Obviously the best uptrend was this one. And you can see how there was a slight lag here, so you've missed some of the downtrend here. So obviously there's going to be problems. So if you buy here on the green, then you'd have lost money. Buy here on the red, you'd have made a little bit of money. But the real money was this long green. Hopefully you didn't stop out here on these little red bars. So that's the basic idea is that when the bar turns red, you sell. You can sell puts or buy puts even, or whatever if you're doing stocks. This works on stocks, crypto, futures, everything. And so you can see that there is this correlation between the green bar appearing and then an uptrend and a red bar appearing and a downtrend. It's pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's any more accurate than something like Algo Pro. It's just a novel way of displaying the buy-sell signals. It probably has a similar win rate in terms of basically like whether it goes in the right direction or not. The thing it's missing is how to manage the trade right. You could say, okay, I'm going to basically buy on green, sell on red, right? So in this case though, if we bring this down, you could say, well, if I, short this here, and then I wait until a green, you can see that my cursor, if we go straight across here, you'd have broken even on this trade. So you're left to manage this, because you could have made money on this little downtrend, but there's no indication here on how to manage the trade, and that's basically what trading's all about, right? You've got to make sure you've got a proper trade plan. There's no real trade plan here that works perfectly. So again, on this one, for example, you'd buy on this first red bar right here, and you'd hold even though it dipped nicely like the way you'd hope it would, because it's a down signal. But by the time the green bar signals, you're already at a loss. So you're getting faked out quite a bit. Unless you're taking profits on the way down. Say, for example, you've set your profit target to be a certain percentage that most of the time this actually hits before it reverses. Of course, you have the huge winning ones like this one where it turned from red to green and then it just kept going and going and going and going and going. So on the longer time frames, this does work pretty well. I looked at the 1 minute and we can probably watch the 1 minute as it goes. And I wasn't super impressed. Let's see if I can get this to actually show the 1 minute chart. This is the 1 minute in real time because the market's currently open at the moment. So you can see the last signal was a red signal. And sure enough, we're actually selling off pretty well here. So it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Again, though, you still have this problem is when do we switch to taking profits? So you might want to use another system like Algo Pro, for example, that gives you can set like what your stop loss is and what your profit taking is, because it's really up to you at this point. I would say, just personally, when I trade these things, I tend to try and just do I take small consistent profits, so 10 to 20% on options like 0 DTE or 1 DTE options on these types of things on SPY. And it looks like that you probably get these moves fairly regularly on this system. So you can see it kind of works. This one was flat, more or less, as these green bars didn't really do much. I mean, by the time the green bar turned on, you were up here, so you kind of flat. Would have been faked out here a little bit. But so far, this last signal you can see is really working pretty well. We're really getting a good sell-off here on this one. So in the short time frames, it does work, but with any of these things, it doesn't usually work as well. Here's another example of what I was talking about the fake outs. And this is not just HEXGO that has this problem. All of these indicators have this problem to some degree. The only difference with this one is with the candles, these bars as they're called, there isn't a way to refine them to change the sensitivity. They're fixed from what I can tell. So you can't sort of customize them to fit on a back test kind of thing. And so here again, you can see when it turned red on this candle, you end up basically getting down and back up to green. But at this point, you've not made any money because the whole dip happened in the middle of the red. So this one worked really well. You can see nice and green. But then again, you're giving back all your gains by the time you exit if you're just using the color of the bars as entry and exit. That being said, this one you can see is working beautifully. We're really getting a sell-off on SPY here, which is fantastic. You can see this one would be pretty good. My guess here is you could make enough on, you know, most of these that it would be quite good. But of course there's no backtesting available, so it's very difficult to say for sure. The 15-minute actually was quite a good time frame that I looked at. So here's the 15-minute for recent 15-minute. This last one hasn't worked very well, as you can see. You'd have entered on this green bar, and we're actually kind of at a loss here. The red worked really well. The last green worked really well. We have this green move, and you got the green bar here. But it's the same kind of story. Nothing's perfect, but again, you need to add extra confluence to this because these bars alone on HEXGO are not enough to really drive a profitable strategy. You've got to come up with your own rules on top of these particular indicators. And that could be as simple as adding something like Algo Pro on top of it, or one of your other systems. See, now we're turning red here on the 15-minute. This bar just appeared. Let's go back to the 1 minute really quick, just have a look and see what it's doing, just curious. So I'm curious here, if we end up getting a big run up here, whether, you know, if you're waiting for a green exit signal, which is how you'd kind of play this, right? And normally that would be what you'd expect as a change in direction. If this bounces all the way back up here before a green bar appears, then you'll have lost all of these potential gains if you were just following the system blindly. So again, it's best to wait for these 10 to 20% moves on short-term options if you're playing like the 1 minute. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. It's not something that everybody, you know, likes to do, but I think blindly following the bars, like any of these signals, is probably going to end up in a negative expectancy on these trades. So yeah, so this is my first venture into HEXGO. Like I said, it's not the only part of this. It's a huge system. My main excitement about it is the 60 days. For people that really want to test things for a long time, 60 days is plenty time to do it. So make sure you check it out. I'll go through some of these other ones in other videos. I need time to explore them a little bit first. And hopefully this will be the start of a series of videos on HEXGO. The reason I got into this, by the way, is I kept seeing YouTube and Facebook ads for this particular system, and I think the 60-day thing is what really caught my attention, and I figured you guys that really want to test stuff would really find that useful. So yeah, go to the hexgo.com. I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll talk to you guys soon.